Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Cleveland Browns halftime report with the score, Cincinnati 13, Cleveland 3. I think the end of the first half said it all. Cade York literally pleading, but nobody pleads with Kevin Stefanski. The problem with this team is not Deshaun Watson. The problem is not the women who sued him. The problem lies with Kevin Stefanski. He's incompetent. He makes bad decisions. He will always lose in the end. I mean, you pay a man $230 million guaranteed, and you put your backup quarterback on a 4th and 1, making the other team think you're going to sneak, and then have him throw downfield when he's a far less accurate downfield thrower than your starting quarterback. How does this happen? And why do you draft a kicker with a big leg if you don't want to try to get points? What's the reason? To me, there can be no reason. I would fire him. I'm done with Stefanski. I'm finished. I'm finished defending him. These receivers are not open. And they're not trying to get open. You know, it's funny. I had a little brief discourse with Al Pawlowski. He's the guy, hi, I'm with the Cleveland Indians, but I'm never on the field. Once in a while, they throw me a biscuit and I get to do play-by-play. But, you know, he's a studio analyst for the Guardians. And he's saying, hey, why doesn't he throw the ball away? And it's like, it's net sum gain zero, you stupid moron. Take the SKI off the end of your name and think for a minute. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I did. My apologies to Parma. What kind of stupidity is that? Well, you know, he should have just thrown it away. So instead, he tried to run out of the pocket and make a play, and he got tackled for a 2.5-yard gain. So what's the difference? If he throws it out of bounds and throws it away, it's still unsuccessful. You moron. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You got to be kidding. It's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable. And Cade York is like, why did you draft me? What did I do to you? You always said to me that it was all about getting points, and you lied to me, Kevin. It's all about your ego and your Ivy League pedigree. You lied to me. The Browns are never going to amount to anything. I mean, let's be honest. They figured out this guy's offense. All right. There's nothing that's surprising any team that we're playing. And I want to say this, Deshaun Watson looks many times better this week than he did last week. And he'll get better if he actually gets receivers on the field. But there's no separation. You saw just a few of the splits they did on the camera. We're focusing on the wide field of the wide receivers, and the quarterback with time in the pocket, the receivers run their pattern, and there's a sign that says dead end. They just stop. They don't run back toward the quarterback. They just stop. Who's coaching these people? I mean, there is no hope for a guy like who's escapable, like Watson is. He's far more escapable than Jacoby Brissett. There's not a single opportunity in the world for him to be able to buy himself time in the pocket if the receivers just stop running. What's the point of this? And why aren't we hearing about it? And why do we continue not drafting wide receivers? Why do we think we're set at that position? I hope he is done in Cleveland. I've seen enough. It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And you know that Cade York was saying, but I was making these going this direction before the game. And Stefanski's like, oh, I can't hear you. Stupid jerk. You know, so now I'm going to have to come up with a voice for Kevin Stefanski, and I'm going to have to drum him out of town like the ones before him. Unbelievable. Yeah, and there is part this, okay? Tony Fields roughing the kicker, which was just irresponsible and makes no sense whatsoever. We've never blocked a punt with Prefer. We never will block a punt with the people we have. That was stupid. But everything was handed to Joe Burrow. I have my Joe Burrow face. That's the Joe Burrow face after he knows they've handed him a gift touchdown. How many gifts can they give him? We sack him. And it was like, I'll do how the announcer would announce this so that, back to throw. Oh, and Burrow's in trouble and they've set a flag on the play. Wait, a second flag. It's like a chain reaction. The guy in the Browns backfield. I better throw a flag. We can't let this be a sack and take them off the field now, can we? No. God almighty. The whole thing, and the officiating in this game is just home cooking to the umpteenth degree, but to the point of it being so irritating, you cannot tell me that with the pressure we've been putting on Burrow, that the Bengals haven't held several times. You can't tell me that. But we go through this almost every week or every other week. This particular officiating crew was told who was going to win this football game, and that's all there is to it. The Browns let their guard down again on defense and let that last score happen, but the fact of the matter is the Bengals are getting help all over the field. They're getting countless attempts and tries at getting this stuff done, and it's annoying because the defense is doing a good job. To put this into some kind of perspective, and I only have 12 minutes to do it, Deshaun Watson has a 95.8 quarterback rating. I wouldn't complain about the way he's playing at all. So anybody with the rapist stuff, go fuck yourselves, all right? Joe Burrow is 9 of 21, averaging only 5 yards a reception versus 9.2 for Watson at a 75 rating, but it doesn't matter. He's being gifted the win. They're not getting any ground yardage, the Bengals. My God, they only have 42 ground yards in the first half. We only have 52. Jamar Chase is catching every pass. The reason? Their regular wide receivers are out of the game. We don't have regular receivers. We don't have people who can get open. But if you really want to look at the whole thing for what it is, just take a look at the team stats. And when you look at that, it will say everything. If you're looking for penalties, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going down the line. Penalties. The Browns, 7 penalties for 83 yards. And they didn't even count the one that saved Burrow's ass. Cincinnati, 3 for 30 yards. We're playing a clean game here in Cincinnati. It's aggravating. And how much can you take? As a fan, how much can you take? And the running backs, we only have one running back and we're not giving him the ball. It doesn't matter who Kareem Hunt was. He isn't him anymore because we kill everything that comes to Cleveland. Everything that comes to Cleveland dies. That's the fact. Everything that Jimmy Haslam touches dies. That's the fact. And the fact that Zach Taylor can't blow this fucking team out is a fact. Oh, my God. Everybody is so tired of the excuses, Keith. There can be no results with bad decision making, and that's the bottom line. There is nothing that can save this team and this organization. And the coach, I feel for Cade York because they don't use him. He gets rusty. His mechanics go to hell. They got no confidence in him. We could, if he somehow pulled that out of his ass, which had to be a better percentage than having Deshaun Watson throw a dirigible in the air. That's a blimp. Up in the air, praying that somebody's going to come down with it. The odds had to be better. You can't tell me in any analytics platform that the play we ran had a better chance than Cade York kicking that field goal. You cannot tell me that. And if you try to tell me that, I'm going to group you with Al Pawlowski, underachiever central. Duh. Stick to baseball. Just don't stand there back there waiting for somebody to get open. Just throw it out of bounds. I want you as an analyst. Goodness gracious. And that's the fact. They're ruining Cade York. They fucked his head up, and they'll continue to fuck his head up. We could have been down 13-6 considerably with the ball for the second half. Could drive the football and tie the football game. Instead, it's a 2-score game because the coach just refuses. And again, when you have a 4th and 1 and he could have kicked a field goal there, what do? You pretend like you're going to sneak and throw a low percentage pass with the backup quarterback. You can't win this way. It's not possible. And I've heard this before, prime years will be extended because they're not using him. He's not going to get hurt as long as he doesn't touch the ball, Radu. Don't worry. He'll find his way to a winning team. They all do. I'm done. The Browns are done. This is only going to get uglier, folks. And the referees, God only knows what they do to get them to do this. But at any rate, I'll be back again after the game with an even more animated post-game show. And I know that makes your Sunday. Let's enjoy the second half, and let's hope that some lucky thing happens. And there's some kind of thing that flies out of the sky that takes that official and, the guy, that's his holding call. It's like, I'm jerking you off. And let's hope shrapnel from the sky comes down and severs his head off. All right, we'll be back after the game, after the game on the post-game show, everybody. So enjoy your second half. Go Browns. See you after the game.